Commander fans, you deserve this one. You went out and got the W. Now, Philadelphia Eagle fans are going to sit here and talk about some of the referee calls and some of the BS that was happening in the game. Well, you know what? That happens in every game, okay? We're not going to sit here and talk about missed calls here and there when it was on both sides of the field, okay? Offense got some calls. The defense didn't get some calls, vice versa. It happens in the NFL. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the way the officiating was in this game because it's always spotty in every game, okay? Washington Commander fans, let me congratulate you once again. You have a quarterback who's for real. Jayden Daniels is a spectacular ball player. He is a really, really good football player. And honestly, I know I'm an Eagle fan, but I hope he has a really long career because he's a really fun watch. He's really, really poised as a rookie. Kudos to them. Kudos to that team. They went out and got the W. However, I would love to believe, not that I would love to believe, I know, I 100% believe, and I think every Washington Commander fan understands it, and Eagle fans know, this is a different game when Jalen Hurts is on the field. It just is. The threat of the run, this offense drastically changes when he's not on the field. There are a lot of reasons for that, and it's because Kenny Pickett, God bless him, I thought he played really good for a backup. I thought he came in and did exactly what he had to do, okay? I'm not going to critique Kenny Pickett of all people. I thought he played just fine. He did exactly what a backup quarterback is supposed to do, okay? But it goes back to roster construction here, and I can't help but think that having Kenny Pickett as a backup when Jalen Hurts is your starter, it would have really been nice to have a guy who could run the same exact offense that Jalen Hurts is able to run. Be a threat with his legs and to be able to run that RPO, the play action, be a guy who can just use his legs to get yardage when there's nothing there in the passing game. You saw it when Kenny Pickett dropped back and there was nobody open. Guy was a sitting duck. And I know he has wheels and he can run, but it's not the same as Jalen Hurts, obviously. And it wouldn't be the same for another backup quarterback who had a similar skill set. Okay? So I thought the defense, believe it or not, played okay. Yeah, you gave up 36 points, but you know what? When you're getting 3 and outs, not much you can do. Okay? Washington did exactly what they needed to do. They stayed in the game. They stayed with it despite throwing 2 interceptions. We didn't capitalize on them, right? So, kudos to them. They went out and got this one. And I'm not going to be really, really critical of what this defense did, but we are going to talk about this game and what it means for us going forward. But before we do that, this is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am Asif Badi. I am a fan like you, and I want to hoist the Lombardi Trophy as a fan. And in order for me to do that, I got to give my opinion, and I want to give a platform for everybody out there who talks about the birds in the midnight green. And if you're down for being a part of that community, I have 2 things to ask of you. Like and subscribe. It'll help me get out to as many other Eagle fans out there as much as possible and help me in the algorithm. And subscribe so that you're notified whenever we post content about the birds in the midnight green. Okay, let's talk about this game, ladies and gentlemen, because Washington, like I said, they went out and got this one. You got to tip their cap. Here, I will tip my cap to the Washington Commanders. They outplayed us in that second half, okay? And I know it was going to look like a blowout once, once the first quarter was basically done. You saw the game and you're like 21-7. Jeez Louise. We came out with, purpose, and we came out with, conviction because there was trash talking from the Washington side saying how they're a better team and all that jazz, right? So I'm not going to be too critical of Washington when they just went out, flat out outplayed us in that second half and did what they had to do to go ahead and win the ball game. However, on the Philadelphia Eagles side, if you're going to get nitpicky, I'm sorry, I'm looking up the box score here of this game. Listen, we ran for 200 yards, had 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley broke the 150 mark, which was nice. He had the one big touchdown around the 68-yarder. And then A.J. Brown had a nice game, 97 yards, 8 catches, a touchdown. A lot of PI calls on him. He drew that. Good for him. And then Devonta Smith had a brutal drop, which was, tough to see. But honestly, I thought Devonta played a good game. I'm not going to blame the loss on him, okay? But you got to execute. And that's really what this comes down to. This team, once Jalen Hurts got out of this game, lost its discipline on all fronts. I mean, the amount of penalties, the amount of just stupid football that we ended up having here was astonishing to me. I'm trying to pull up some of the penalty yardage here if I'm able to. Yeah, we got penalized 10 times for 91 total yards. All right. Washington got penalized 6 times for 93 yards, and 2 or 3 of them were on the same drive. Jalen Carter was undisciplined today because a lot of the trash talking on the defensive side of the ball. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got himself disqualified due to trash talking and personal fouls. A lot of drop passes, undisciplined play, right? With Devonta Smith and Saquon Barkley up the sideline. Tough catches for Saquon, I get, but you got to make that play. And Devonta Smith, you got to slant over the middle, brother. I know you're going to catch that 9 times out of 10. Those types of things happen, okay? Missed opportunities with Jake Elliott in the field goal, right? 56-yarder, he just cuts it short. Finally hit a 50-yarder field goal, so that was nice to see. But overall, you can't be too upset with the play of the offense and the play of the backup quarterback, because he came in and, yeah, he was only 10 for 21 or something like that, or 14 for 24, excuse me. He had a few sacks, but you know what? The last 2 drives of the game, when you needed to be in field goal position and get some scores, he ended up doing just that, okay? And the other thing that's concerning going forward now, because, yeah, Washington deserved the win and they played great, and the Commanders have a true quarterback and they played excellent throughout, no doubt about it. This loss for the Philadelphia Eagles, what this means now is that you are definitely going to be the 2 seed. There's no way you're going to get the 1 seed now, okay? There's no path for the 1 seed anymore because Detroit beat Chicago today, and they would have to lose the rest of their games. And even if they did lose the rest of their games, I don't think there's really any path for them to go ahead and be the 5 seed at that point. So Philadelphia lost their chance at the 1 seed. They're still at the 2 seed, so they get the host home field for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, which is nice. But going forward, this team needs to show that they can play disciplined football. And today was not the day they showed that. Again, defensive penalties, stupid, trash talking at inopportune times, dropped passes, poor execution. And you have to think what happened last week with Clint Hurt and Nick Sirianni, where Clint Hurt stepped in front of him and Jalen Carter and said, hey, don't discipline my guy. I got it. This is my player here. The head coach has every right to go ahead and discipline the players when they need to be disciplined. And Jalen Carter all year, as exceptional as he's been, and he's played with an edge, and that's part of the reason why he was so good this year and why he's been so excellent thus far this season. He was undisciplined today. The defense, undisciplined today in key moments. The offense, inopportune drops, undisciplined today. The head coach has to be able to show the authority of the football team. And unfortunately, with the Philadelphia Eagles as a roster and the Philadelphia Eagles as a structure and an organization, have not given Nick Sirianni the opportunity to go ahead and do that. It's unfortunate, and we're okay with it because I'm a proponent of a guy who believes that, hey, Sirianni could be part of the problem if things are going well for us to lose a game. But I'm also not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm not going to say don't let this man be a head coach, okay? He has to create the structure. He has to create the culture. He has to be able to show he's the head coach and discipline players. But when position coaches and other people are seeing that Sirianni has no power in the organization because the organization is telling, hey, only leave your responsibilities to game day, then everyone else is going to feel emboldened. And then they're going to have they're going to have a locker room that when things go awry, no one is going to be able to steady the ship other than the players themselves. And today, when Jalen Hurts went down and it became a rocky situation with the backup quarterback in, getting 3 and outs and not moving the ball the way we normally do, this team lost its stability. And when you lose your stability, all of a sudden, talent goes out the window. Excellence of players go out the window. Because now you got to go down to fundamentals and execute every play the way it's supposed to be ran. And this team has not shown the ability to do that when things go awry. On the other hand, the Washington Commanders, they showed they weren't wavering. And that's a testament to the rookie quarterback on that side. That's a testament to Dan Quinn and the organization that's going on over there in Washington, because they're going to be a problem for the next few years, especially if they remain healthy, because they're only going to get better. There's talent on that team. They came out and played, and they showed when things go awry, they don't waver. Philadelphia this season, in some instances, they show that, hey, when things go awry and the offense isn't clicking, but you have the running game with this defense, yeah, you can go out and make some plays here. But losing your starting quarterback, I know, is not easy for any football team, guys. It's just not. But you can't have drop passes. You can't have stupid penalties. You can't have personal fouls. You can't have any of those silly things that can cost you a ball game, especially when you know the guy on the other side can keep up. So, overall takeaways from this game. The 2 seed is officially locked for Philadelphia. And going forward now, the biggest question mark on this team is officially not the quarterback, because for those people who wanted to see a drop back passer in this offense and see a guy who could get the ball out of his hands quick, you saw what the product was today. And again, Kenny Pickett's not the best barometer, but it shows that Jalen Hurts operates the offense in a high capacity. It shows why they gave him $50 million. This offense doesn't work unless he's in the ball game, okay? You scored 12 points basically the rest of the game outside of the first quarter. And even then, that was with the Kenny Pickett touchdown. So, yeah, like I said, the takeaways going ahead into the season, you have the 2 seed now. So whoever's on the 7 slot, which is probably going to be Washington or Green Bay, you're going to have to play them in the first round. And then the discipline on this team when things go awry. And in the playoffs, you're going to play against really good football teams. So sometimes things aren't going to go your way. Can this team bounce back when things are shaky? That's the biggest question mark going forward. And then lastly, as much as we want to hate on Nick Sirianni, is there going to be a situation where he has to step up as a head coach and he's not going to be able to have the opportunity to do so? Now, I am all for letting him be the head coach. Let him step up to that opportunity. And if he falls on his face, that's his fault. But the organization saying, hey, basically castrating Nick Sirianni from the beginning of the year, and it's been masked by all the winning, which is fine because we're winning ball games. It's good. But games like today, where you actually had opportunities to go ahead and steal a game on the road with your backup quarterback, the more disciplined team won despite the difference in talent. It goes to show you the NFL is a week-to-week league. You got to come out and play. The team that has the most discipline, that plays the cleanest football, and that can control the game in the biggest moments are going to win. That's always been what the MO of the NFL is. It's not the most talented. It's not the most prolific offense. It's not the greatest running game. No. It's key moments, being able to come up big. Can you play discipline, not turn the ball over? And just be efficient when the times need to be efficient have to come. This team has shown it can't do that unless Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback, right? But again, kudos to Washington. Bravo, you kept the season going for you guys. They were going to make the playoffs regardless. But you know what? This is a quality win for them. They've had quality wins all year. They have a quality quarterback. And quite frankly, they're building a quality culture over there. Philadelphia, on the other hand, is showing you, hey, you can have all the talent in the world on both sides of the ball. But if you don't have somebody who could steady the ship when things go awry, you could succumb to anyone beating you no matter what week, no matter who you play, no matter what time of the year it is. Football is about consistency. And today was not a day that Philadelphia showed what they usually are, which is a consistently talented team, but a team that goes out and executes when it has to. We have to see what it's like going forward, because next week you got Dallas, who have no reason to play hard this year at all, other than to play spoilers. And it's a division game once again. You got to go and really send a message against the Dallas Cowboys. Because quite frankly, you got to finish the season really strong heading into the playoffs. And this team's going to be able to look at this loss and really digest it and let it sit for a while. And I think right now, that's the exact thing that this team needed. Everybody needed to see how valuable Jalen Hurts was. What happens when you don't let the head coach discipline his players. And also show, no matter what type of talent you have, anybody and everybody can beat you when you play in the NFL. Hey! Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles Podcast.